We are live 364 days a year.
What are we doing here?
If Dom turns at SummerSlam, I'm shaving my moustache off. I told you, if that happens, it's going. My lip is cold because of a stupid bet that I made with YouTube.
Oh, good.
Wrestle's better than Daniel Bryan Daniels. Better than Okada.
How did not get 50 after Monday Night Raw?
Good evening from Swansea, South Wales, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are watching Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast a day before Halloween. And today we've got a very spooky episode of All Elite Wrestling Dynamite to get into. So without further ado, let's get into who will be joining me to discuss it all. Let's kick things off over on the East Coast of the United States of America. How are you, Anthony?
I'm doing all right. It's always fun to do these. And, I know this is not one of the topics on here, but it's one of those things that I was watching last night, and I had questions. Why did Hook have that much luggage? He doesn't do indies, and it was a one-night thing. Why did he have, 3 bags of luggage? Could someone answer that for me?
It was for all the, what you guys call chips, probably. He's a big chip guy. He eats a lot of them.
Two rollaways and another big bag? Really?
Probably. That's the Hook way.
Okay.
That's what the man does. It's his hidden talent. We got quite a few comments here. We got Zach saying it's National Candy Corn Day. We got the Sharp one over on Twitch. Shout out to you. And we got Anthony Manzano as well. Plus, Fernando Zayas saying it's time to light the fuse and ignite this Dynamite review. Also joining us today, we have over on the West Coast, Mary. How are you, Mary?
All Elite Mary back as we are on this wonderful Dynamite review. I am ready. This was I'd say a pretty spooky episode. Like Anthony, I have lots of questions, but we can get into that later.
Absolutely, and we're going to be getting into a big question out of the gates. Before we do, few more comments I want to read out. We got Christopher Leclerc showing some love to the Sisters of Sin. I love those two. I'm really delighted they won last night. We got Adrian in the chat saying Happy Halloween WR, and Numero 1 Superfly, oh gosh, he's going to make me sing, saying it's time to make some teams now. It's time for creepy art. It's time to watch Dynamite before the 31st. In the tune of the Muppets. But without further ado, guys, we need to get into this first topic. Because I was scrolling on my phone earlier today, and I saw a tweet by SP3, and this tweet caught my eye because it reads, the Don Callis Family Summit was yet another example of why this group has become the best faction in wrestling today. And as soon as I saw this, I was like, what a rubbish take. And I thought for a minute, and then I was actually like, I'm actually not sure if I disagree, because this faction, is it a bit silly? Absolutely. But am I entertained every segment they do? Yes. Is nearly everybody in the faction in a better place they would be in if they were not in the faction, compared to if they were not in the faction? Yes. And also, on top of that, there's not really any other good factions in wrestling right now, so the bar is very, very low. But if I'm being honest, yes, I do think the Don Callis family might just be right this minute the best faction in wrestling. Anthony, I want to get your take.
Honestly, they're like you said, there's no real other major factions going on. The Vision kind of went away, or kind of whatever's going on. The Death Riders will never be on a list of the best faction. I mean, there could be no factions there, and I'd still say anybody, like a single person can represent a faction that'd be better than them. But they have so many people in this group. It's kind of like, it's this weird situation. Does Rocky Romero really matter? Not really. Maybe behind the scenes, on camera, nobody cares. You know, Josh Alexander's in a position where this was somebody that was the face of TNA, and now nobody cares. Like, I don't know necessarily if everyone's in a higher position than they would be. The two blue chip ones are Fletcher and Takeshita. Those are your golden gooses if you're AEW. Okada is the New Japan legend that they've reduced to just flipping the bird and having a catchphrase. And they gave him a belt that doesn't mean anything. I don't know. I think it's by default. Are the segments sort of entertaining? But like the criticism I had on a previous week is everybody that feuds with a member of the Callis family just feels like they're feuding with Don. And it's just plug and play with different people in the group. Like he's been feuding with Omega forever and a day, and they're just switching out the parts of who's going against Kenny. I don't really truly believe anybody's getting necessarily elevated. Takeshi's getting elevated, but I kind of feel like that's more on his talent. And same thing with Fletcher. I don't necessarily know if it's Don. Like Don's enjoyable, but I don't necessarily know if it's this group. They're just adding people. Oh, we signed somebody, throw them in the group. It's the United Nations of stables. When you look at it, it's pretty much, oh, are you not American? John will represent you. It's in that position now.
I'm going to be honest. I do disagree with you on a lot of what you said there. The Josh Alexander point, you're bang on. When I said nearly everyone, Josh Alexander is the one guy who I don't think is getting anything out of this. But Okada, he came to the US. They tried to introduce him as a babyface, and he just couldn't get over. And because of the style he wrestles, I think his New Japan gimmick wasn't going to translate well. So I do think they had to do what they've done, essentially. I mean, don't get me wrong, some of the elite stuff was still really, really stupid, and that didn't help. But since he's joined Don Callis, I haven't really had an issue with Okada. It's definitely helped Takeshita. It's definitely helped Kyle Fletcher. I think it's helped the likes of Rocky Romero and Hechicero, who I don't think would be doing anything if it wasn't for this faction. Same for Lance Archer, right? I think it's keeping some of these guys at this point in jobs. So for that reason, I can't confidently say that it has hurt them, other than Josh Alexander, which is, it's a separate point, but they have done him disgustingly dirty.
Listen, I completely understand putting talent like Okada or Hechicero or Takeshita. The English is not their primary language. I completely understand that. But there's so many people in the group, I think as a whole, it hurts. If it was more elite of a group, I think it would elevate them more, because now it just looks like anybody can join. You know what I mean? It doesn't come off as the true eliteness that Don was trying to represent it, even though there's talent there that you can make that argument with Takeshita, Fletcher, Okada, Josh Alexander. You can make an argument with these people that these are top talent, but then you have like other pieces, then you're like, I don't know. Like I like Hechicero a lot. Listen, him and Bandito may end up being my match of the year, honestly, but I don't know. Like I feel like there's not enough uniqueness with these feuds with Don, because it's just Don against somebody and then plugging and playing. That's my only criticism of it.
I think you actually are right in what you were saying, but I think that is also the story which they are telling here. I think they're telling that they're going to add more and more people, and the more people they add, the more conflict there is, and it's going to tear itself apart. If this faction is still a thing in 6 months, I'll have the same issues, but I don't think it's going to exist in a few months' time. I think this is going to blow up really quickly.
Well, the Death Riders are still a thing, despite how many blow-offs have we had on this? But yet
we'll get into that late. We'll get into that in the next segment, because I have some things to say about that as well. Trust me, I'm on the same wavelength. Donnie agrees with you. He says the only guy who can talk or get heat in the faction is Don, so nobody's getting elevated or developed. I really disagree with that when you look at the job. I mean, look at Kyle Fletcher and Konosuke Takeshita before and after the faction, because at least those two are getting elevated. At least he has helped those two. There is no denying that. Fernando says the Don Callis family are the best in wrestling right now. Numero One agrees as well. Meanwhile, Anthony Manzano says he totally disagrees, and that's the most ridiculous and asinine statement someone's ever made. Wow, just wow. But Mary, I want to get into what you think about this segment.
It's like I said, like I believe my very first Dynamite review. Eat, sleep, join the Don Callis family, repeat. I will lose my mind right now if the Young Bucks join them. They do not need to downgrade themselves to that kind of manner when they are the elite. They are the best tag team currently. But as far as for the Don Callis family, it's like how Ben said. I just think, unfortunately, by default, they're kind of being the ultimate heel faction that we kind of need, let alone to comparison of like the Vision, the MFTs, the Wyatt Six. I could name a bunch of other factions that just aren't putting up the aura, to say the least, to get us interested in these particular feuds. But I 100% agree with Ant. I just don't think these feuds are getting the push that they need, because it's just Dawn. It's Dawn being the wonderful mouthpiece with no, it's like a sandwich. There's no meat and potatoes in between. It's just 2 loaves of bread, which is your competitors, and then Dawn's the meat in the middle. It's like, it has to kind of make more sense. The only people that are getting elevated in this particular group are the ones with championships. Like Josh Alexander, I could go on and on and on about Josh Alexander, but he out of the entire faction, I feel, is not being treated, let alone booked properly at all. At all.
I do have to agree with you there. I mean, this guy was a main eventer in TNA. He was such a good talent. He could play the babyface role incredibly well. That was what I'd personally do with him. But he also showed towards the end of his TNA run, he could also play the heel. And when he came in, I said, it's kind of an overcrowded roster, and I'm not sure how he's going to stand out. And unfortunately, my concerns have become a reality, because that is exactly what has happened.
He has been completely foreshadowed, in my opinion, to Okada, to say his name for me, guys. I don't want to bother.
Konosuke Takeshita.
Yes. Those two are the stars in this group right now, but I feel they're going to be such big stars that what do stars eventually do? They blow up.
Yeah.
And this is where we'll see the fall of the Don Callis family, which I feel might actually be a better, I'd say, explosion than the Bloodline, in my opinion, if they pull it off correctly.
Really?
I feel like it could really bring in a lot of different eyes to see kind of someone like to I'm gonna practice his name. Our IWGP World Champion right now.
There you go.
He will be the one that destroys the Don Callis family, and I cannot wait.
I'll tell you what I can't wait for, and that's Fletcher versus Takeshita versus Okada. Because I know the singles matches are going to happen first, but eventually we must be getting that triple threat, and that is going to be just an absolute banger. And I really do like the idea of it. But the sharp one is correct. While it's the best right now, there really is not much competition. The bar is really low.
If you're like a prize-winning fighter or something like that, and you're competing against scrubs, because there really is no other. I thought about it when you originally threw this out that this was a topic, and I'm going, who else can I argue? What, the system in TNA? Like that, is that the only other competition at this point? I mean, technically you got Solo's, face paint group.
Oh. They're not better than this.
MFT.
No, but what I'm saying is, like, it's a very small list of, like, I started trying to think of like stables that were going on right now, and it's like, before the Vision imploded, you might have been able to make an argument there that the potential was there to be a stronger group. You might have been able to make that argument, because there was no weak links. You had 3 members with Paul as a manager. Like, that's not. That there's no weak points. You can make an argument. The Callis family, they're weak links, but it's very difficult with this situation. And I don't know what you do with it. I think both WWE and AEW, they're bloated rosters, and you don't want to take. You come off as heartless if you go. You need to take an axe through these things, but you need space if you want the top talent to truly breathe and move further along. You need to clear out some of the stuff that's not going to get you anywhere. And that's, what I mean? And I don't mean to be nasty about it, but it's a shame. But like, if you look at it, like, people go, oh, they should bring this person in. Oh, they should bring that person. Who are you taking away? They're not getting additional TV
but
time.
He's also coming back as well. So but he's coming and going, and he can barely decide.
He wasn't at the summit.
I know. I really wanted him to be on that picture because I was like, can they get away with that? Just not naming him, but putting him on. But they probably
It's not
can't
that-
because the image likeness thing. But it would have been so
I
funny.
mean, listen, they could have done it with him with the mask because WWE doesn't own the mask.
Oh, that's a
point,
good
fair
point.
point.
Oh, they should have. But do you know what else they should have done, right? I wish they did. When they were talking about the reasons why people weren't there, and they said, oh, Takeshita's got some travel issues. I was really hoping that they were going to bring up someone else has got legal issues, not saying Andrade, but just mentioning it. It would have been quite
You know
funny.
what? That did kind of annoy me, that line. We're like, oh, Takeshita has travel issues. You just came from backstage. Are we really supposed to believe
Well,
Takeshita just
Takeshita
showed
arrived,
up?
yeah, he did. Okada lied to everybody. They got out there, and as soon as Okada was gone, Takeshita managed to unlock the toilet door, get out there, and got them to play his music. That's what happened. It's that cheeky Okada up to no good.
Okay.
Anthony Manzano really wants you to answer this comment, Anthony, because he is saying,
Okay.
is it just me being harsh? But it kind of feels like the Don Callis family is becoming the NWO in 2001 WCW. They are just adding members to add members without justification. But I think, Q, that's the storyline, no?
I mean, listen, the NWO, what ultimately killed the NWO is that essentially the entire company became the NWO, and they were literally called the NWOB team. Like, I mean, they were separate limo. It was so ridiculous. Like, the Callis family is getting towards that point. If it hasn't already passed it. Like I said, I've always preferred stables 5 to 6 people tops. Like, realistically, when you get more than that, it waters it down. What's the specialness? Like, I don't get the Rocky Romero thing in it at all. Like, you're not elevating him. He's got contracts with 3 different companies. I don't know how exactly you're impartial when you have contracts with 3 different companies in backstage capacity. Where's your loyalty lie on that? Like, you know what I mean? That would be like me having a contract with this and 2 of our competitors. Isn't that a conflict?
I mean, you do see it happen. You do see stuff like that happen, I guess. But to answer your question, Anthony, and to answer the question you about who else maybe is the best faction, before we move on to the next segment, I am going to throw out, because I have decided my new favorite faction. It is the act which Shard refers to as the Spooky Sisters. They're actually called the Triangle of Madness. They're my favorite faction right now. They're the only one which is, I think, always entertaining. They got a good luck, and it just works on all cylinders. But up next, we need to talk about the men's blood and gut match, because Jon Moxley's losing streak is continuing. I can tell, Anthony, you're excited to talk about this one. But Jon Moxley's losing, or lack of winning streak at this point, I should say, because last night was a draw, streak is continuing. And the reason for that, I presume, is that Jon Moxley has just lost the plot. He lost the title, and now he's lost the plot. He's lost his confidence. He's losing everything. And I think very soon he's going to lose the Death Riders, because it is confirmed in 2 weeks' time, the Death Riders versus the conglomeration and Darby Allin in blood and guts. And at the conclusion of this match, we will see the Death Riders lose, and I believe Jon Moxley is going to get kicked out, but the faction will continue without him. I think that's the story they are telling you, but Anthony, I want to know your thoughts and your prediction.
Oh God, I gotta cover this group again. No, here's the thing. This group never had a plot. The plot was, we're taking over. Why? There was never any takeover. There was nothing. Tony Khan was always still running it. You've dragged this story that no one gave 2 craps about at all. And you've dragged this story out. You've had an end game finish. Hangman getting the belt and freeing it from the briefcase. That should have been the end of it. Oh no, we don't end there. We're gonna keep them on TV after all the blowout. Oh yeah, and he challenges for the belt again 2 weeks later. Neither guy sells any injuries or anything from the major pay-per-view that they had. Okay. And everyone went, oh no. Darby has to finish it. Darby's got to be the one. You did a last man you did the I Quit match at the last pay-per-view. Neither guy sold anything. They're right back on TV. This group doesn't die. There's nothing to this group. It's never gotten anyone over. As far as, you talk about the Callis family, you can make an argument that group maybe sort of got somebody over. You can't say anybody's gotten over from this group. Nobody. Maybe Marina Shafir, maybe. And she's the one that you're really not. She's playing the China role to Moxley. Moxley's not getting over. Claudio didn't get over. None of these people in this group got over. This has been the most dumb, useless stable in the history of wrestling since I've been watching. I can't think of a dumber one that went on this long. I mean, there have been some stupid ones, the Union. I mean, there have been some dumb ones over the year, but not going this long. That never had a point, that never did anything, and there's no end game. Oh, Blood and Guts is going to end it? Every time we thought it was dead, it keeps going on. Nobody sells anything. And now you're doing a Blood and Guts match with a stable that's the ragtag group that AEW has no idea what the hell to do with. So we're just going to throw them in a group with the dumbest name. And now we're supposed to go, oh, well, yeah, this ragtag group of, rejects get thrown together. And now they're going to be the ones to end this threat to AEW. Whatever. I don't care.
Honestly, Anthony, I can't disagree with pretty much anything of what you said. To your point, I think Marina's gotten over, but I think that's where it stops.
Yeah, I mean, honest to God, that's what it is. I don't know what you do with her after. But realistically, that wasn't, Yuta's not over. None of these people are over. And what are you going to do with the conglomeration? If the conglomeration beats them, what does that do? So you're telling me this ragtag group that has no major purpose took out the group that no one else, Omega couldn't do it, Okada couldn't do it, Swerve couldn't do it, Darby couldn't do it, Sting couldn't do it, no one could do it. But Ishii and this group of Kyle O'Reilly
can do anything. Don't you insult Ishii like that, Anthony.
No. In all fairness, all these other people, I love Ishii, despite the fact he has no neck. But I've always been a fan of Ishii. But seriously, there's not this group that AEW has no idea what to do with these people, so they just threw them in a group. They're going to be the ones to end this? Really?
I can see you're dying to talk about it, Mary. What's your take on
Mary,
this
go
one?
ahead.
When I did my first Dynamite review, and I believe you were there, Anthony, who did I give credit to from the Death Riders? Marina Shafir.
Yes.
She's the only one that is getting any kind of aura, push. That's it. And now she's in the tag team tournament?
I actually, look, if they get to the final, I don't hate it.
I'm not mad at it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not mad at it because it's Megan Bayne. That's her partner. That's why I'm really not mad at it. If she was thrown with someone else, really anyone else other than Megan Bayne, I would not care about this tournament any more than I kind of don't if this one particular team wins, but we'll get into
we will get into that. But I mean, look, at the end of the day, I really love John Moxley's reaction to them actually backstage in that interview where Megan Bayne, Marina Shafir together, and he just comes up and he goes, I wouldn't want to be any of the other tag teams. But it was really, really golden. But yeah, to your point, Anthony, I do agree with the people who say Darby should end it. But to your point again, there was an I Quit match. It was brutal. And then they just no-sold. I mean, not even that. John Moxley no-sold getting set on fire a couple of weeks prior.
I mean, that's been the problem with this group. They don't sell anything. You have a major blow-off, a last man standing. I will give credit when they did Punk and Drew with the Hell in a Cell match. Both guys were off TV to sell the match. Yeah, that is logical. The fact that AEW doesn't do that and going, okay, it's just on a Wednesday. Don't worry about what happened Sunday or Saturday or whatever. These two guys almost killed one another. Darby almost got drowned. It's fine. He could be in a match.
The thing is, though, I could believe it with Darby Allin, because I've said this before. He is
The
the
man has a
one
death wish. I
wrestler
know that.
in wrestling where I'm like, if he doesn't sell something, I semi-believe it. Because this guy just is, in real life, immune to dying for some reason. It's a skill I can't get my head around.
Listen, he's the only guy that I know that, what was it? He had a broken foot, then broke his nose like a couple weeks later, and then got hit by a bus. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, you know, that's the thing. Like, you do need to sell stuff in wrestling. Do not. It's part of the problem. You know, you're impressionable with kids. Now, I get it. Oh, the adults are watching it too. But, like, still, at the same point, if you show something with him doing something insane, and then he's back Monday or the next show, like nothing happened, that doesn't help you from a PR standpoint. God forbid if something happens. Oh, well, they saw Darby do it, so it's fine. Like, you have to be thinking globally and not just this small little nugget of things. And that's my only.
I haven't actually had a chance to talk about this match. I'm going to quickly say this, though, about that controversial, the I Quit controversy during it, a lot of parents are having. They did actually say before that match that if, this isn't for the faint of heart, this is going to be an extremely brutal match, switch off if that's not what you're interested in. And it went on last. And before that was a fantastic match, which was good enough to main event. So I will actually say I don't actually agree with the criticisms over that specific match because they gave a warning and it's not like they've shown a repeat of it on TV since.
Yeah, but isn't the stuff on YouTube? Don't they put most of that stuff on YouTube?
I don't know. I think they edited out, like they only did like certain spots from it, and they edited out a lot of the brutality because YouTube wouldn't allow it.
They do
Gotcha.
like highlights, I'm sure, just
Yeah.
maybe not the detailed
Gotcha.
stuff.
I think it was like the Claudio throwing him was on YouTube, and then the finish and stuff, and Sting maybe smashing it. But I feel like the actual drowning Darby in a fish tank, I don't think that actually got onto YouTube, to be honest with you.
You think that made the cut?
As
No,
our
I
truth says, I don't think that's PG.
Right, guys, I have a quick apology to make because today's YouTube video, Top 10 Options to Beat Cody, hasn't come out yet. It will, in fact, come out tomorrow. It is recorded. It's all ready. Me and Des had a fantastic time making that, and it will be out tomorrow. Meanwhile, tomorrow's upload, Top 5 Takes of the Week, will now be moved to Saturday. So everything is coming out just a day later. This time change has got us all over the place. But make sure that you do check it out when it does come out in the next 48 hours. Plus tomorrow's daily. Make sure to check that out as well with Clark, Anthony, and Des for the Halloween special of WR Daily. Now, let's get back to talk about AEW because I want to talk about this Athena and Mercedes Moné situation because I'm going to be honest, Mary, I can't get my head around this at all. I can't understand why they're teaming together after feuding. I feel like we missed so many steps, and for that reason, my only logical conclusion is that Athena must be the one to dethrone Mercedes Moné, and this is how they're starting the story to get there. But it's very, very bizarre. What's your thoughts?
And if they're going to do it this way, again, why put him in this particular tournament? I just think for the aura power to have for Mercedes to say, oh, I am the inaugural WWE Women's Tag Team Champion. Now I'm the inaugural AEW Women's World Tag Team Champion. So again, the accolades there, but for this particular team, I don't get it. I don't get it. They need to be fighting forever. Please. I don't want them friends. I want them fighting on my screen. They're not buddies. I hope this turns to a total blindside. If they don't win the whole thing, I hope this turns into a really huge blindside by Mercedes to end Athena's dominant streak, her reign as ROH Women's World Champion. This better be the demise I need to finally have their third match, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. Second or third.
Yeah, it'd be like their second or third match. If this is going to be the build for it, it kind of makes me sad because they're utilizing a spot for an OG tag team to build for more Mercedes Accolades.
That's the thing. I gave the idea of Chris Statlander and Mercedes Moné praise for one reason, and that was I thought it was going to be title versus title. So it really would feel like a big deal. However, now we found out it's just for the AEW Women's Championship, which was the exact same match they did with Mercedes and Toni Storm, and also confirms to me that Mercedes is losing, if that is the case. So I'm guessing, to your point, they probably are going to do Ring of Honor title versus Mercedes Moné's TBS title, and it'll be Streak versus titles or something like that. But even still, it kind of just feels like a really, really lazy way to get here. And it feels rushed, and I don't like it, Mary. I agree with you.
I don't either. It's no discredit to the either of them. It's just how they're kind of morphing, like my sandwich quote earlier, how they're making this sandwich. They need to leave out the mustard and mayo sometimes. Like some sandwiches just don't need to be made, and it's not this team. It's not.
Oh gosh, and Christopher Leclerc says that Red Velvet is going to go after Mercedes Moné. Perez says they are rivals. The Sharp One says that he thinks they're going to try and recreate the Better Than You storyline with MJF and Adam Cole. I think a similar thing, but I don't think it's going to be that long. I think it's going to be very, very short. In fact, I think Athena might cost her at the pay-per-view.
I 100% agree. One of them's turning.
They must be. Fernando says that Mercedes and Athena are the two most dominant women in wrestling today. They are the two-woman power trip. That is actually a very good shout indeed. And Numero One says that when he saw the bracket, he questioned them. It's kind of like Cena and Logan when they suddenly went from being friends to enemies. Exactly. I can't get my head around any of these at all.
Beautiful take right there.
But something which I can't get my head around is Hangman versus Samoa Joe Part 2. They did the heel turn at the pay-per-view at Wrestle Dream, and I really liked it. I said, okay, this is now finally a proper feud which Hangman can properly sink his teeth into as champion, and therefore I am there for it. They did the Fatal 4-Way match last night, a really fun match. Samoa Joe won, and then afterwards, they did a fantastic angle where Hangman Page disguised himself as Tony Schiavone, and clearly Tony was in on this as well, and it was just absolutely hilarious. But I will say Samoa Joe has to actually go after Tony Schiavone next week, because he cannot let Tony get away with getting involved like this. Very bad journalism, Tony, very bad indeed, but a very good segment. Mary, what was your thoughts?
I 100% agree. I loved it. I loved that Tony Hangman's take right there at the end. It kind of gave like that, like you said, the baby face to kind of pull the one up on the heel in the end there to say like, oh, I'm always one step ahead of you, Joe, but I'm sorry. I said it once on many of Dynamite reviews. Samoa Joe. That is all. Samoa Joe. Need say no more. That match, by the way, I'd say is probably one of my best AEW matches currently.
Wow.
Every single competitor did phenomenal. I was 100% interested, from Ricochet's 450 to Bobby and Joe having a square off, Hook actually being showed as the really, really good underdog. He showed, I feel, that he could hang. He could hang with the big guys. Like, good Lord. It was like seeing Rey Mysterio fight against Big Show and Mark Henry and all sorts of just fantastic performers. And just to say that he's able to hang with the big guys, I see Hook getting another opportunity pretty soon in the near future.
I could see that being the case. And on the topic of Hook, right, when this match was first announced, I agreed with Numero One Superfly, saying that it was very predictable. But then I thought some more about it, right? And while I do think they easily could have just announced this match, the one reason I did like it was because it planted the seeds once again between Hook and Samoa Joe. They're not forgetting about that partnership and how it kind of just disintegrated. And I think After this title program, we are going to see Samoa Joe feud with Hook, and I am here for it, that is for sure. Donnie Da Silva saying, is Giovanni finally going to take a bump after 60 years? I think he might get choked out backstage, and then people run in or something like that. But Anthony, what's your thoughts?
Here's the thing. Samoa Joe has always been one of my favorites. And part of that reason is he has a believability to him that he walks into any room and he appears as one of the toughest people in that room. Like, he is somebody that can make up a fake title, and just because he's holding it, it's probably more prestigious in the fans' eyes than a lot of other titles that are in AEW at the moment. Like, he could legitimately do that. I feel Hangman, and I've said this before on the show, he's in this redemption run because his first title reign was not good. It was not booked right, and he's trying to prove that he is not the guy that's just good at the chase. Like, and I feel like this title reign has been better. The matchups have been better, and Joe is the type of performer that could help elevate Hangman to that next level. So he is a solid feud. I have no problem with Joe winning it, to be perfectly honest. I will never turn down pretty much a Samoa Joe world title reign if you have a plan in mind. But I do think Hangman's probably going to win. I mean, I think that's the logical move. If you truly want to push Hangman and truly want to show him as more than, then he's got to beat a legend in Joe. So I think that's the logical move in this scenario. Hangman pulling his trick out of, popping out of a costume again. They've done it before, and I have no problem them doing it again. It's kind of a tradition thing, so I have no issue with that. Shivani, he's an easy target for Joe to take out. I mean, WWE used to do it with JR to get at Austin. So I have no real issue with Shivani, because realistically, who else are they going to choke out? If Joe went after, Excalibur, no one would care. Brian, you could do Brian, but at the same point, Shivani's kind of, don't get me wrong. Brian is a legend, future Hall of Famer. He's got all those credentials. But Shivani is, JR is not there. Shivani would be the next logical choice to do it, or to taunt it that he's going
and
to
not
attack
only
him.
that, if it was Brian, people would think Brian's going to return too.
That's the other part. Yes, he's an active wrestler, so they've already gone down the well of Christopher Daniels, so I wouldn't want to go down that road. But again, Daniels has history with Joe, so you can kind of do that. But then it's the question of, is Daniel gonna fight Joe? Are we going to see that? So.
But also, it would have been very hard to disguise himself as Tony Schiavone.
Yeah.
Not as Tony Schiavone, as Christopher Daniels.
Yeah.
He'd have to get a bald cap, and there's nothing to really hide behind. So I'm not sure about that one. But I do agree with you. I think Samoa Joe is so good at making the small things feel important, to your point. And I think he's doing that with Hangman's Reign.
He's one of the only guys in wrestling that has a completely believable move that's not even a move. It's just him moving, and that's the nope spot. In all of wrestling,
brilliant.
Everyone jumps off the top rope, and it drives me nuts when Darby does it, or Kofi does it, when the person's standing and they do the death drop or the trust fall, whatever. Why would I be standing there to catch you? You would move away. It's the logical move. Like, it's the most logical move, and I love the fact that he's told the story of, like, somebody was like, hey, what if you move away? And it's now become a thing where people are like, dude, I want to do the nope spot. Like, you do realize that is incredibly painful, jumping off the top rope and just crashing. Although, Christopher Daniels has done the moonsault, and he's moved. I still think probably the best one is the one guy in AEW that jumped off and just did the, like, what? Like, he's done this 1,000,000 times, but it's one of the most believable moves in all of wrestling, because it's the one move where, like, if someone's jumping at me at the top rope and I could see them, I'm moving out of the way. It's the most logical move. I don't even know if he calls it the nope spot. I call it the nope spot, because what else can you call it?
I mean, yeah, that's the perfect name for it. You're not wrong about that at all. And then TCX Warlord is agreeing with you, saying Hangman is in his redemption arc.
Yep.
And I do think he has to hold the title until MJF returns, because we know MJF has said he is going to be returning with, as the best version of himself. So that's presumably going to be as a heel. And no way is he going to return with another heel as champion. And if he's going to be the best version of himself, he has to win. So therefore, I mean, I do think he's going to be the one to beat Hangman.
I do think they hurt themselves because the MJF character, it would fit for him to do the Edge cash in, where it's like the champion just successfully defended the title and now he sneaks in and steals it. They've made it a rule of like he's got to give advance notice. I'm like, that kind of hurts it, because the MJF character would fit with that, and that's where you should be using it. Like, I think they shot themselves in the foot unless they pretend like that never happened.
Partly my fault, Anthony. It really is.
It always is your fault, Ben.
I was in the room with Tony, and he asked us, legitimately, by the way, he asked us all, does anybody have an issue with this?
And you have.
I did not put my hand up and say I theoretically could have put my hand up and said yes. However, I probably wouldn't have been invited back, considering it was my first time as well. But, I mean, look, hindsight's a beautiful thing. But no, in all seriousness, the reason why they made the change was so many fans were writing on social media to AEW that they didn't like it. It was copying WWE, and that's why Tony made the change. He was listening to the fans. And of course, sometimes in wrestling, you got to make your decisions, but at some other times, you got to listen to your fans. And that's the decision he made.
Here's the thing. If you were going to do that, in all seriousness, it should have been as an announcement for the crowning of the next one. You don't change it midstream, especially when you have MJF holding it, because it's logical for his character to do it. Because now you've hurt yourself.
Did they announce it mid-show?
Well, they didn't announce it. They announced it after they went back and forth of whether you're, I'll give you a title shot if you cash in.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It was that whole nonsense that they went ridiculous with, where they forced the cash in, and then like the next week he manipulated. I'm going to set Mark Briscoe on fire. You mean the same Mark Briscoe that's backstage that anyone can help right now? You mean that Mark Briscoe? No, but like you can't change it midstream. Like, that's not how it works.
So I thought you meant literally mid-pay-per-view, but no, mid-storyline. No. It was because of fan feedback. I'm okay with that at times. I personally don't like this decision, but I'm okay with wrestling bookers listening to the fans if they believe that there's a good point being made. In my opinion, this isn't the right one in this case.
I guarantee you, when he comes back to do the cash-in, the IWC, which always does this, they will go, this is ridiculous. He should have cashed in at the pay-per-view after he successfully defended it. You know what I mean? Like, that's the ridiculousness of it.
Don't bring this debate up again, honestly. The IWC debate, which was being had the other day. Oh, gosh. But that does, guys, bring us to the end of the show. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you guys enjoyed. We will be back same time, same place tomorrow. Please leave a like, subscribe, and comment if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video. Thank you to Mary, and thank you to Anthony for joining me here today, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.